Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the People's Game for the first time in a very long time. We'll go into that in a bit, but obviously first, I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Shane. Shane, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Man United are a mess, but we'll get into it. We'll get into that. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. He is correct. Man United are a mess. We have a lot to talk about in this video, so I'm not going to be surprised if this one's going to be a really long episode. So yes, there will be lots of United talk. We're going to be talking Lukaku and all of that absolute mess, the Ballon d'Or, World Cup. We're going to talk about how we think everything's going halfway through the season, Newcastle and whether they and all their millions of pounds could stave off relegation. And we're going to give out some awards as well for who we think's doing well. And then, I mean, if anything else comes up, there's a lot that's gone on. Let's not lie. There's a lot's happened. But I guess, first of all, we do need to say sorry for kind of disappearing off the face of the earth. Now, I won't lie. That's a lot of that is my fault. I have basically spent ages moving myself back into my actual creative space. So there's not going to be, I'm sorry for anyone that actually noticed, but my mum is no longer going to be in the background watching ITV dramas or something. I'm now in my own space, which is good. It's good. It's a slightly more professional look. I mean, I won't lie, the place is still a mess. I haven't really done anything with it, but it's marginally more professional. So that's good. So, hello. I don't really know if you have anything to add. I'm just really sorry we've been away.
Just apologies. Like it's also my fault because I will admit I do suffer from a lot of mental health issues. So I was struggling a lot by the end of last year. So I'm trying to get myself back on track. Not a good start to 2022, but gotta look up. So, but we're back, which is the main thing.
Exactly. We're back and we are ready to rant out all of these negative feelings onto the internet so that you guys have to deal with them instead of us. Or at least that's the plan anyway. Whether it works or not, I don't know. Because normally, if it's going bad for Chelsea, then just kind of talking about Chelsea normally just makes me more sad. But we'll see. There's so much to get to. There's so much to get through. Now, I guess with us coming back after so long, it would be wrong not to just talk about Man United and Chelsea for a bit. Now, we'll start with Manchester United because, again, since we've been away, so much has happened. Namely, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has obviously gone, and now we're under the Ralph Rangnick era. What is it, like 8-9 games he's been in charge?
Yes, about that, yes.
I can tell already you sound absolutely buzzing to be talking about this. So I guess I'll kind of let you take the lead with this, my man. You obviously are much further invested in this than I am. How do you feel about this? Do you feel like progress has been made since Solskjaer's gone? Do you feel like you've gone backwards? Like what's the general feeling in the Man United camp right now?
I generally think we've gone backwards.
Okay.
It's just a mess. It's actually a mess. Okay. First off, I'm sorry it didn't work out for Ole. I ended up like halfway through the first half of the season. I was like, Ole had to go because it just wasn't working. Like it clearly wasn't. And then obviously we had that big defeat to Liverpool, big defeat to Man City, and then obviously Watford obviously was the nail in the coffin, which was utterly embarrassing. I do find it funny that Man United's last goal under Solskjaer was Van der Beek. Surprise, surprise.
It would have to be. It would be criminal if it was anyone else.
Now, obviously, Ralph Rangnick took over. And then, obviously, first game against Palace, first half an hour. Okay, this is what we wanted to see. Like, this is what Ralph Rangnick was supposed to bring. But ever since then, our performances have been relegation form. Norwich should have beat us.
Yeah.
100% Norwich should have beat us. And then Newcastle should have beat us. And that's two of the bottom three. And then obviously we beat Burnley, right? And then, but that's obviously drop points against the bottom three.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at the Wolves game. Hardly embarrassing. And then obviously we just beat Villa in the cup. I don't know how. Because Villa were all over us.
Yeah, that was a very squeaky bum result.
You know, and the problem is I don't blame the manager. The players are, excuse my French, a fucking disgrace. They are a fucking disgrace. Honestly, how dare they put on that shirt and give us these performances? Is actually a joke, right? The only two players for me that can hold their head up high is David De Gea, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. And even though, right, I might get ridiculed for this because his performances have been shit, but I've got to give Scott McTominay a lot of credit because I know when he puts on that shirt, he's committed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he's bagged 3 goals in like his last few games. So I can't complain about that.
Sure.
Right. Obviously, I don't particularly want him playing realistically because our midfield is a joke. But for me, the biggest sign to show how badly we're in trouble, there's 2 signs. One, Phil Jones did not play for 2 years, right? He comes back and puts on a man of the match performance against Wolves despite us losing. Right?
He was the best player on the pitch.
I do not blame him for the goal because he cleared his lines.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't his fault that the midfield didn't track Coutinho, I think, who scored the goal, right? Yeah. So it's not his fault. He cleared his lines. And I'm like, the player's been out for freaking 2 years and he's the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And obviously the biggest sign for me that we're a mess is unfortunately Rashford. Like, just looking at him, a Man United person through and through, and looking at his body language, looking how dejected he is, shows how much of a mess we're in.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to get into the topic of Ronaldo.
Go for it, man.
Now, I will fully say, and I'll fully hands up. I don't think we should have signed him. I don't think Ollie wanted him.
I would agree with that.
Right? I don't think Ollie wanted him. Yes, he's the reason we qualified for the Champions League, right? 100%. And without his goals, I don't know where we would be. However, I think Ole had a plan.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Ronaldo signing kind of screwed up.
Yeah.
I had to, because like I think under Ole, we knew that our best form of attack was counter-attacking. And I feel like he bought Sancho, he bought Varane in, right, and was just like, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to play Rashford on the left, Sancho on the right. Cavani will play every other game up top, and then if not, Greenwood will play there, and we'll just play counter-attacking football, you know, speed, pace. You know, we will hit people on the break, and they can't handle it.
Yeah.
We signed Ronaldo. That's everything's changed, right? Unfortunately, I don't think we have the wingers, quote unquote, to supply a player like Ronaldo all these, like, you know, yes, okay, he scored a lot of goals, but like supplying with a lot of chances. So I don't think we'll finish top 4.
Okay.
At this rate, we won't even finish top 6.
Wow. You think it's that bad?
I think it's that bad. I think we're in massive, massive trouble. And if we don't sign a CDM in this window, which I very, very much doubt, I think we're going to be in massive, massive trouble.
Okay. Fair. I think, see, it's because I've got a couple of things with this, right? In that, I think the first thing is that the formation that Ranić is trying, this, what is it, like a 4-2-2-2, supposedly,
Yes.
right? I just don't think for the players that United have, and you know, I get that obviously being new to the team, you have to try and implement kind of your own like identity on a squad and stuff. Like, you know, I get that. But I think for the personnel that you guys have, at least right now, that kind of system just doesn't really work. Like, I don't get where Bruno is supposed to fit into that. You know, arguably probably United's most important player very recently, or at least probably under Ole, one of the most important players. And all of a sudden he just kind of doesn't fit into the system. You know, Jadon Sancho, when you spent all that money on him, he doesn't really fit into the system. I think that causes a lot of problems. So I think that's not great. But again, you know, like I said, I'm kind of willing to give the benefit of the doubt on that. You know, new to the team, wants to make his own impression on it. And it's always going to be a struggle kind of deciphering whether to try and make the players work in your formation or whether you're trying to find something that works for the players, right? It's always going to be tough. But I think that's interesting. But yeah, I think you've kind of highlighted the most important thing in that the first game he had in charge, there was a real change. Like, you guys were playing really well, and all of a sudden I was seeing on Twitter and stuff like, oh, this is the, you know, like the Ranić revolution. And I kind of genuinely had one of those moments where I was like, oh God, like this is it. Like United are kind of back now. And I was kind of like, like that's not something else, you know, as like a fan of a rival club, that's not something else I need to worry about. Like, I don't want that in my life. And then kind of after that, it's just sort of like gone. Like, I don't really understand what's happened. I mean, you know, I'm sure it's a very complex situation, but I don't really get what's happening, to be honest. Like from the outside looking in, I don't understand how you can have one half of such good football and then that just never show up again. Like, you know, it's very odd. Again, you might have a different opinion on that, but it just seems strange that they did it for they did it for like 45 minutes and then they just kind of left it there.
And it's, and the thing is, I'll give you, there's two problems, right? It got leaked that the players, for example, weren't happy that Ranić has basically said that we're training, for example, till 5 p.m. and the players are moaning about it. I'm sorry, if you like, you get paid freaking thousands of pounds. Fuck off and do your training.
Yeah.
Right.
Valid.
I'm sorry for the language, but like seriously, do your training. Like he's asking you to do this because it's clearly to him that we need a lot of work.
Sure.
Right. And he talks about being more physical, having a bit more stamina, stuff like that, more toughness. He's said that from the start, and he said that in every interview. We need to toughen up.
Yeah.
Right, you know, so it's not like he knows where our weaknesses is. He even said against the Villa that how bad our midfield is, and that's basically him telling the board our midfield is a problem.
Yeah,
but we're not gonna obviously sign. And then obviously you heard there was unrest about players arguing with each other, and a lot of players want to go. And I'm sorry, but if you want to go, just leave.
Sure.
Like I'm sorry, but like you're playing like. I'm sorry, but you are playing for Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, right?
Yeah.
Right. If you're not happy, don't be here, right? Don't complain if we don't sell you because the club doesn't put in the offer we want for the player, right? Because we're not just gonna be like, okay, you're unhappy, go. We're gonna be like, okay, yeah, we'll let you go if the offer's here. Like, okay, like for example, Dean Henderson, right? He wants to go. Okay, F off.
Yeah.
You know, Van der Beek's a different story because every fan wants him to play. Apparently, Ragnar doesn't. There was a story saying that Ragnar doesn't think that Van der Beek can handle the toughness of the Premier League, and that's why he doesn't play.
Right.
So unfortunately, Van der Beek, unfortunately, as much as I'd rather him stay, he kind of does also need to go. Lingard clearly wants to go back to West Ham. Okay, go.
I still don't
Martial,
get why on earth Solskjaer said, yes, Lingard is part of my plans. He clearly wasn't. Like, he was never going to play.
right? And obviously, Martial, as I said, he wants to go. Oh, heck, go.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many players that want to go. Just go. I'm just kind of sick. I want people here that want to play for us.
Yeah, sure.
There's some players, and there's a lot of players in our team that are not United level.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example for me. I'm gonna call him out, and I've called him out for a while now. Wan-Bissaka's not good enough.
Okay.
For me, Dallo needs to start permanently. Like, yeah. And the only reason I'm always on Wan-Bissaka's case is, I'm sorry, you might be great defensively, but if you used to be a winger, how could you be so bad going forward?
That's the problem, isn't it? I guess, like, especially in like a modern fullback as well. As being a fullback now isn't just as easy as sticking to your position and being solid defensively. Like, obviously, that's good, but in the modern game, without sounding too much like a weirdo, but in that sort of sense, like, more just kind of is needed and expected nowadays. Yeah, it's not going to get you by anymore, I guess.
But yeah, to make a long story short, Man United are just an absolute disgrace at the minute. The players are disgraceful. I think we'll get into the Champions League, but I actually think we're gonna squeeze past Atletico Madrid. But then whoever we get in the next round, I think will absolutely destroy us. But we will see.
We will get to that. We will get to that. There's a lot to go through. So I guess then, in your I suppose, like, ideal world, if you could have, let's not focus on like players that would maybe like leave the club, because you've said there's all these stories that have come out about who wants to leave and whatever. Like you said, if someone wants to go and doesn't want to play at the club, then okay, fine, off you go. If you could get in, maybe let's say like 2, maybe 3 players that you think would kind of like steady the ship and sort of make it something you'd feel sort of happier with. Like, is there anyone you'd have in mind? I feel like my kind of go-to whenever I think about United at the moment is, because I know this was something we were talking about when we literally first started this channel, but that glaring CDM issue. And I think someone like an Yves Bissouma or someone like that would be peachy, or like maybe like a Wilfred Ndidi, but I feel like Leicester wouldn't let him go for less than a lot of money, I guess, like similarly to what they did with Harry Maguire. But I feel like one of those two would just sort out.
Those are the 2 names that will the first 2 names that would go through my mouth.
Yeah,
would be Ndidi or Bissouma.
I think they would just steady that. I think so
Bissouma would be a more likelihood, because how Brighton keep a hold of him, I have no idea. But the CDM role is just such a problem. I just think we'd be so much better with a CDM, and every fan knows that. Unfortunately, if this was a Matic when he was younger, then maybe. But
oh yeah, I mean, as a Chelsea fan, can confirm prime Matic is footballer,
but that's obviously not the case anymore.
No.
I do think we need another centre back. I don't want Maguire starting.
No, fair.
I actually think our best partnership right now is actually Phil Jones for Allen, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
No, but I mean, I think it's one of the things almost about the whole kind of Phil Jones thing is that when he went out on that pitch, right? Say someone maybe like a like a Harry Maguire or something. Maybe he doesn't necessarily see it to himself that he has like a point to prove, right? He just look at it as, he's like club captain, he's well established. They paid a lot of money for him, whatever. Someone like Phil Jones, who, like you said, hadn't played for like 2 years, he has a point to prove, and he's going to want to go out there and almost, I guess, like clear his name and show people that he is still an incredibly capable footballer. Which, by the way, he did. He did that so well.
Well, there was a perfect picture, right, where like it was when the team was walking out against Wolves. All the players looked dejected, and there was that one player who looked ready for the fight. Who was it? Phil Jones.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, he's got nothing to lose and everything to gain. If he does put in that really good performance and no one else really does, like what happened, then we're literally having this conversation right now. Like you said, it's worrying that the one person that comes out of that game looking good is someone that hasn't featured for 2 years. Obviously, minus De Gea, because arguably he, at the moment, has kind of rediscovered his best form. He's unreal. And to be honest,
one of the best goalkeepers in the league, in my opinion, on form right now.
For sure.
I think.
For sure. I think it's good to see him back to his best as well. Like, again, as an opposition fan, I probably wouldn't say that all the time. For example, when he plays against Chelsea, if like him and Kepa could just like switch skill levels or something. But like, it's obviously in football, and I guess with a lot of things, there's a lot of like recency bias. Like I feel like people forget how good people can be very quickly. And the amount of like almost like disrespect that like De Gea was getting over the last like couple of seasons, and it's just like no, you wait, like he's still incredible, and to now be watching him pull off these performances week in, week out again, even as an opposition fan, I can admire it because he is just a phenomenal goalkeeper.
And just obviously to end on the United thing, because we'll need to move on, but just going back to the other player I would sign would be a striker, and the only reason being is Cavani's going to go.
Yeah.
I don't think Ronaldo's going to stay.
Do you not think so? Do you think it's going to be like a one-season thing?
I think it'll be a one-season thing, and that obviously leaves a glaring weakness.
Yes.
Now, I think Haaland's going to go to City.
Yeah, probably.
Right. Yeah. So I look at it and look like, where would we get a striker? Because the problem is, I think Spurs will finish top 4.
Okay.
So I think Kane stays.
Okay.
So I don't think we can go for Kane. I don't want to go anywhere near Aubameyang.
No.
Right. So I look at the world. I'm like, where? I don't think Greenwood's ready.
Okay. To be like leading the line full time.
I don't. Okay, I'm gonna sound very stupid here. Very stupid here. But just because of that news I heard about him wanting to either go to Spain or the Premier League, maybe test Bayern for Lewandowski. Test it. Like, I would test it. I would be like, you know what? Okay, if Robert really wants to try the Premier League or Spain, I'd be like, if I was Man United player, do you want to be our main man?
I mean, fair.
I don't think it would ever happen. I'm putting it out here, but if that was me,
you might as well. What's the harm? If they say no, they say no.
Yeah, but realistic, I don't know realistically where would we get a striker from. I don't know.
No, I mean, one of the things
Greenwood's ready.
One of the things I have seen bouncing about a lot, which I'm sure he's a great player, but of all the people I just wouldn't want to add into that Manchester United dressing room right now, I see the Mauro Icardi rumors bouncing around quite a lot. Now, listen, I'm sure he's a great footballer, but with all the drama that he's had on Instagram with his wife and all the other stuff, and considering the current dynamic of the Manchester United dressing room, if in the shoes of like a Man United executive or something, I would not look at that and be like, that is the person I want in this dressing room. That would be a good idea, because that seems like a terrible idea.
I also know we're linked with this striker from South America. I forget his name.
Okay.
Let me actually see if I can pull it up. But I know we were linked with him. That's it, Julian Alvarez.
Okay.
We're linked with him. I've never heard of the bloke.
I was going to say, I'm not going to lie and say that I know
I've
who
never,
that is.
I've never heard of the bloke. I know he's like, apparently his numbers in South America are like ridiculous. However, it's a not proven, but
it's always going to be the problem, isn't it? Coming from,
as I said, Man United a mess. Now let's move on to your club, which is Chelsea. And a certain striker that you purchased in the summer, who came out with an interview saying, he would like to go back to Inter Milan, or pretty much said, please let me go back, and has since apologized.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Take the floor.
So this was an interesting one. Obviously, unless you've been living under a rock or don't have access to the internet, you will have known about this interview. Romelu Lukaku just came out with the most outrageous interview ever. And I mean, it's one of those things, right, that if he was like 3 years into his Chelsea deal and had bagged like loads of goals for us and won us a Premier League and another Champions League or something, you'd be like, fair enough. He had a good time at Inter. That's allowed. He can sort of like that club. But when you're like 3 months into a £100 million move and you're basically telling your current girlfriend that you're still not quite over the bird he's just broken up with, it kind of all of a sudden becomes an issue. Now, as annoying as I found the whole thing, I won't lie, I have been absolutely living for the memes that have come out of it, because they're just so good. Not that makes up for it, but I mean, like
I love a good meme.
The memes are they are very top tier, so I'm happy with those. It's a difficult one. Because obviously, I, like any Chelsea fan, when I heard sort of, like before the whole thing came out and it was just like snippets, and I was like, yeah, okay, look, that doesn't sound great, but like it might just be the media doing what the media do and taking it out of context. Whatever.
I remember linking to you to the
I know.
I
was at the Silverstone lap of lights enjoying my evening, and then Shane just messaged me and was like, Lukaku wants to leave Chelsea, and I was like, don't think he does, mate. He's only just signed. He was like, no, he does. Let me show you this. And I was like, oh, all right, maybe. Okay, fine. Yes, he does. So that ruined my evening. But but yeah, then kind of just more and more kept coming out about the interview, and I was like, oh, this is just getting worse the more he talks. And then the whole thing came out, and it was like, oh dear, yeah, oh god. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that came from a place of frustration because he'd recovered from injury and still wasn't being played. But you don't go to a news outlet and just call out your manager and say that you're desperately unhappy when you've said absolutely nothing about it previously. Without at least talking to the manager first. And B, like I said earlier, you don't look. I kind of get what he was trying to do. I've kind of made sense of it now, and I think it was more of he wanted to kind of appease the Inter fans because he obviously loves the club and didn't like the way it ended, which is that's okay. But the way he went about it has just kind of made Inter fans more angry than they already were, and has also made the fans that he currently plays for really angry. So it's an interesting one. I know he's obviously come out with an apology, which just seemed very PR like, but at the end of the day, I don't know what more he could do. But yes, obviously I was very mad when the interview came out. I'm still not sure like how to feel about it. Like, he's literally playing for us against Spurs right now, but I'm like, I don't know how much I can get behind him right now. You know, like I'm almost kind of like, obviously I want you to score, but you know, like it just leaves this weird sort of sour taste in my mouth. Like I don't know. How does it look from a different?
Oh yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. So like, it's actually good that I'm speaking about this because obviously Lukaku used to play for us.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So like, Lukaku is a fantastic striker. Fantastic striker. Didn't work out for us because I'm sorry, but I don't think Lukaku's first touch is that great.
No, that's fair.
Like with what Solskjaer wanted to do, he just didn't fit, right?
Yeah.
Goes to Inter, produces fantastic numbers. Now, I will say this: it's not his fault that he got sold. He wanted that contract at Inter and didn't get it, right? And because they're in financial trouble, Inter.
Yeah, you know, and to preface, that was something we all knew. He was open about that before he came, so it's not as if he said that and that was new information.
Yeah. So like, I just want to make it clear he wanted to stay at Inter from the start. Yeah. Unfortunately, his hand got forced, and you know, I actually think the only club he would have gone to would have been Chelsea if it was Premier League, right? I don't think he would have gone City. Because I know for a fact that Lukaku still respects United a lot, right? I know that. So the problem I have, right, is it's just like with the whole Man United and the training at 5 p.m, right? You're not playing. I get you're frustrated, right? You gotta knuckle down and get on with it, dude.
Yeah.
The only thing is. And the only thing I question, and this is why I question Chelsea, right? Tuchel's playing a specific system, which is why Lukaku's not playing, correct?
Yeah.
Then I could be wrong, but then in my head it's just like, if Lukaku was not a striker that fits your system, then why didn't you sign a different striker?
Yeah, see, this is where I start to get really confused with this because obviously Lukaku's playing now and he's starting to get worked into this system, and I think it's actually working quite well at the moment. But if he wasn't working in the system, then was it a Tuchel signing? But if he wasn't a Tuchel signing, then when all this happened, Chelsea probably would have done typical Chelsea and sided with the player rather than the manager. But Chelsea were kind of very openly on Tuchel's side about it. So I'm kind of like, well, it must have been a Tuchel signing then. Surely Chelsea wouldn't kind of overrule Tuchel, spend 100 million on someone, and then go on Tuchel's side when something happens, right? Like it's really confusing because that was my go-to. As I was like, well, you know, maybe Lukaku wasn't a Tuchel signing, but then because this has all played out the way it has, I am truly baffled by.
I think what's happened is I think Tuchel wanted Lukaku.
Yeah.
I think what's happened is Tuchel was surprised at how Lukaku didn't fit into the system. I think it surprised them, and obviously Lukaku got the injury, and then obviously
that's
but then it was like he got back fit, and it's just like I don't think Lukaku's ready. I just think he's just gone. Lukaku's not ready. Not being funny. Like the Premier League is like very intense game, so I don't care who you play. Like you can have very strange results.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's very difficult. All I will say now on the situation is I don't think many of the fans will accept that apology.
No.
Part of me thinks he might go in the summer.
Wow.
If I actually think because I hear Inter will have some money, I think if Inter offer, I think Lukaku will be like, "Can I please leave?"
Yeah, I
I
think it's
think if
going to be
Inter,
interesting.
I think if Inter offer the money, I think he'll go back.
Yeah, that's just the thing, though, isn't it? Is whether they could. I mean, if they could, but then would Chelsea let him go for anything less than they bought him for? And I don't. You know how low would they go to get rid of someone who's potentially problematic? Like it's tough. I just think for now, I think Lukaku just needs to get his head down, score some goals, not
Yep.
talk to the media, ideally,
Mhm.
and we'll just go from there. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's weird. I guess trying not to put all of the spotlight on Lukaku. Obviously, that's probably the biggest story that's coming out of Chelsea, other than the fact that like 100% of our back line is out of contract this season. But that's fine. That doesn't matter. We don't need them.
And it doesn't help that your two fullbacks are kind of injured right now.
Yeah, it's all gone a bit Pete Tong. I mean, look, the way I look at our season, right? I promise in the other people's games videos, I definitely don't say that I thought we were going to win the league. That didn't happen. I have kind of
certainly weren't my pick in my head.
no, I've accepted now that we're not going to, because now if we do, brilliant. If not, then I mean, I think City might have this in the bag. But
Maybe, possibly.
there's
We'll get into that.
there's a long way to go. But if Pep and City let a 10-point lead go, I'll be very surprised. Anyway, that's another thing.
Yeah.
But we're as good as through to the final of the Carabao Cup. Honestly, I would take like a Carabao Cup win. Top if we finish like second, sweet, and like maybe like a good FA Cup run or a good Champions League run. I'll whatever. Right, I'm at peace with it now. It is what it is. Obviously, I guess like a supporter of any big club, I would like this season to end in a bit of silverware.
Of course.
But with things being like they are at the moment, with not only like injuries, with it being like a busy like January period, you've got like COVID factor into that as well, and
which is a topic I actually want to get into. Actually,
good God, I mean, one thing I hadn't even thought of is at some point I know we've got to play in the Club World Cup, which is being held very far away. So I'd forgotten about that, but we need to do that as well. There's a lot going on in terms of Chelsea right now, and to be honest, I think at this point I'm just kind of like, we'll just take it as it comes. It is what it is. Like you said, we're managing at the moment without Ben Chilwell and Reece James, who, especially when you look at the final against City in the Champions League last season, were the two most important players on the pitch. They had an absolutely killer game against them. So I think we'll just take it as it comes, and we'll see how it goes. But life's good. We're basically through to the Carabao Cup final. We won our first FA Cup game. Like it's okay. I'm at peace with whatever happens. I'm zen. It's not worry about it. It's not worth it. Right. So moving on. That was a lot. You could tell that needed to come out in there.
Yeah.
What blimey. So next thing I've got on the list is the Ballon d'Or. Now, gutted Jorginho didn't win it. No, okay, for real. Look, as a Chelsea fan,
third best player in the world, apparently.
Stop it.
Right. So, just the thing, I have the list of winners in front of me.
Okay.
So, let's go. Our first best cup of the year went to Chelsea. I mean, to be fair, they did win the Champions League.
Yes.
They had a great second half of the season. So can't really argue with that. Right. Striker of the year, Robert Lewandowski, absolutely no-brainer.
Oh my God, yes. Who else?
Okay.
Who else?
Right. Copa Trophy went to Pedri of Barcelona. Okay, can't really complain about
There's
that.
no one else I could put
Yeah,
above him.
Drew Bellingham was second, so great for him as an Englishman. And basically we've got top 5, so happy days. Female went to Alexa Putellas of Barcelona.
Yeah, she was part of the. I know they won the treble in terms of women's football. In becoming what do you know? One thing that I found really mental, actually. Like again, women's football is not something I am as into as I would like to be. I won't lie. Like if it's on Sky and stuff, I have found myself watching it.
Of course, yeah.
So Barcelona are the first women's team to win the Champions League that their men's team has also won it. Which I found absolutely mental. But the more I've been looking into it, I know Lyon have had the best women's team for a very long time, and they've kind of dominated a lot of things. So I just thought that was crazy. I mean, obviously, because I know the Champions League final was Barcelona and Chelsea, so obviously Chelsea could have also held that record, but we kind of fell at the final hurdle. But I mean, good for her. I'm sure she's an incredible player.
Now, here we start off is where I get a bit angry, and I don't even have a player for my team in this. But Donnarumma won the Aston Trophy for best goalkeeper. Now, I'm sorry, just because you win the Euros does not mean you're the best freaking player in the goalkeeper position. Because I'm sorry, that should have gone to Mendy.
See, the thing is, is I'm also kind of angry at this. But, I mean, look, if it had gone to Mendy, I'd have been happy. I wouldn't have argued with that. He was unreal. I think, though, if it's going on pure talent, I think it should have gone to Jan Oblak, to be honest. He's unreal. I know, obviously, Atleti are a defensive team anyway, but Jan Oblak's just different beast. But I mean, I agree. I think the award should have gone elsewhere. I can respect it. Donnarumma's a good keeper. It's not as if it's gone to David Stockdale of my beloved Wycombe Wanderers. So I'll allow it. But I think it should have gone elsewhere personally.
Right. Yeah. So that was it. Now the big award. Right. Now, I'll start off from 29th upwards because this is what I have in front. So tied 29th place was Luka Modric, and I don't even know how he's made the list, but Azpilicueta, okay.
Oh, you leave Dave out of this. He's a legend.
Tied 26 was Moreno of Villarreal, Barella of Inter Milan, and Ruben Diaz of Man City.
How was Ruben Diaz that low?
25th was Phil Foden. Okay. 24th was Pedri. 23 was Harry Kane, and I actually think he's a bit low.
Mm-hmm.
Tied 21st was Bruno Fernandes and Lautaro Martinez. I think Fernandes is a bit low considering the season he had.
Yeah.
Tied 19th, Mason Mount and Riyad Mahrez.
Okay.
That kind of annoys me that Mount was higher than Fernandes, but that's just me.
No, fair.
Luis Suarez and Simon Kerr was tied 17th. Neymar 16th. Raheem Sterling 15th. Bonucci 14th. Tied 12th was Lukaku and Chiellini.
Right.
Not even making the top 10 was Erling Haaland, which I think is completely ridiculous.
Understandable.
So 10th was Donnarumma. No. 9th was Mbappe. Kevin De Bruyne was 8th. A lot of controversy on this one. Salah was 7th.
Yeah, he should be.
I have my own opinions on that, but
that's another video.
That's another video in itself. 6th was Cristiano Ronaldo. 5th was Kante. 4th was Benzema. 3rd was Jorginho. 2nd was Lewandowski, and winner with 613 votes was Lionel Messi. Lewandowski should have won that.
Oh, thank God for that. Yes, I agree.
I think Lewandowski's been screwed over 2 years in a row.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, the thing is, they very clearly made the best striker award as to basically be like, really sorry, big man, you're not winning the big one. You can have this one instead, though.
Now, I'm gonna say it right now. I think Messi won that on because of his name. I'm saying it. I actually think how Lewandowski did not win that is beyond me. It's actually beyond me how Lewandowski did not win that.
I think there is some merit in it. In Messi, obviously, finally won something internationally with Argentina. But yeah, I think beyond that, and I guess maybe you could argue with him pulling up the numbers he did in a very non-good Barca team. Again, good, but yeah, I'm struggling to look past Lewandowski just for pure consistency, like outrageous numbers, finally beating Gerd Muller's Bundesliga goal record. I mean, what more could the guy have done? Like, really? Besides winning literally every competition ever, he could not have done much more.
If Bayern won the Champions League, I actually think he would have won it.
Yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to, these things, trophies and stuff.
Because the problem is, right, I just think obviously Messi winning the Copa America probably did it for him. You know, first international, I think, trophy win, I think it was for him.
Yeah.
But I just also look at it, it's just like that Bayern did win the German league, which is, you know, they generally do win it. But
yeah.
I just struggle to look past it and just it's like when Donnarumma won the goalkeeper award. It's just the Euros did it for him, and really, I just struggle to think how. And
no, but I think that is the way that the Ballon d'Or is structured now, because again, you know, obviously, with club allegiances, I do rate Jorginho as a player. And yes, he was a big part in the team that won the Euros and the team that won Chelsea the Champions League. I cannot deny those facts. Could I genuinely sit here and say that he's the third best player on the planet? Probably not. Well, not even probably not. No,
I mean, look at the players he's apparently got voted ahead: Benzema, Kante, Ronaldo,
Kylian Mbappe,
Salah, De Bruyne, Mbappe, Haaland.
Yeah, I mean,
is he better than any other players? No.
Did I want him to win it for the pure shithousery? Of course I did, but my God, to sit there and try and seriously say that yes, he is the third best player on the planet. Look, Georgie, I love you, mate. You're just for being part of a Champions League winning team, you are now ingrained in Chelsea's history, and I love you. But do I think you're the third best player currently walking the planet? I just don't. I'm sorry. Other Chelsea fans, if you genuinely feel differently, feel free to roast me on this. But I don't. I like Jorginho and I appreciate what he does, but I cannot sit here and say third best player in the world, that mate. Easy. It's just, I can't.
No, but yeah, that was just like ridiculous. But moving on from the Ballon d'Or, let's talk about the World Cup's this year.
Yes.
Are England going to win it? No.
Oh yeah, mate. It is. It's coming home. Get the England shirts out, crack the jams on.
We're not obviously going to be talking about the World Cup until the draw is made. But obviously, the big talk about the World Cup is it might be moved to every 2 years.
Yes. These proposals have apparently been put out there.
Yes.
Obviously, nothing official has happened yet, but they've put the feelers out. And how do you feel about this?
Part of me's for it.
Wow. Okay, that was wow. Okay, wow. That's not where I was expecting that to go.
Now, I only say that because I think it is kind of a shame that the only really tournament that I know of where we play teams for an England point of view that are not in Europe, just being the World Cup, it's kind of a rarity.
Okay, fair.
I would maybe not having realistically, I think the World Cup should be every 4 years still. Like it should be.
Yeah.
However, I still think another tournament where all the best countries in the world play, I think is appealing, and I think that's what they're going for, because we don't see it enough unless it's a friendly, and friendlies don't mean anything. I'm talking serious competitive football.
I guess quite an easy way around that would be, so is the Nations League just European?
Yes.
Surely you just expand that then and make that a bigger bit. Oh, Tottenham have scored. I didn't realize. Okay. But yeah, I guess you just do that, because yeah, I think just purely from like a player welfare point of view, they can't just keep adding more and more and more competitions and making things more frequent.
No, I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Players need breaks. So,
Yes.
At the end of the day, am I ever gonna complain about there being more football on? From a spectator point of view, no. But, the more and more football there is, the worse the product is going to get. The players are going to get tired. They're going to be exhausted all the time. Spurs' goal has been ruled offside by VAR. I'm happy. But, it's just, I get what you mean. Part of me is like, yeah, but it's kind of like the Super League debate all over again, like why are Champions League games so special? Because they're so few and far between. Like, why is a World Cup so special? It's like, because we've waited 4 years for this. So it's like, I'm ready for it,
Yeah, it's really hard for me because obviously the tradition I've been brought up with a World Cup for every 4 years.
Yeah,
obviously, I would find, I think I'd be less emotionally invested if it'd be every 2 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would still want England to win it. I'm sick and tired of having that one gold star on the shirt. But as I said, there is a part of me would welcome it, but that's just based on the fact I would rather see more competitive football.
Sure. If it's an option as a spectator, you're always going to say yes, aren't you? Realistically.
Yeah, and it's hard because it's just like, it's probably the same reason why the African Cup of Nations is so special, right? Which is obviously going on right now.
Yeah.
But I think if you go into a spectator, if you could see like France v Brazil a lot more often, England v Argentina, Germany v Argentina, all these things in competitive games, not friendlies, competitive games, I think a lot of spectators would be for it. It's really, really, really hard. I mean, I think I'd be angry if it did change, because I can't remember. I could be wrong, but I think Wenger's the one. Arsene Wenger's pushing for 2 years.
Yeah, I found that the most sort of bizarre thing. I thought of all the people that would sort of have like player welfare and stuff sort of fairly ingrained in his mind, I would have assumed like he would have been one of the people for it. So yeah, when I heard that, I thought that was interesting. But I mean, we'll have to see. It's one of those things that's just been floated.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets confirmed, that's a whole video in itself.
Oh god.
And obviously, just to put it out there, once the World Cup draw is made, we will be talking about it because it is this year. It's obviously being in the winter, which is another change.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting in itself.
So it's going to be very, very interesting. Obviously, see how England will do. Depends on who we get. I do think whoever we get, I think we get out of the group. That's just me, confidence-wise. I think we would. Do I think we'll get to a semi-final like last time? No. Because I think the job was just very kind to us last time.
We did do well.
Yeah. Although I still stand if Kane just passed it, I actually think we would have reached the final. I think France would have battered us, but I actually think
we would have at least been there to
we're-
get battered.
Yeah. So yeah, before we get into the halfway point in the season, I do want to bring up the Champions League first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because very interesting thing happened in regards to the Champions League draw.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you don't know, and
I forget how much has happened this season. It's been mental.
If you don't know what happened, I'll just refresh your memories. So the Champions League draw was made.
Yes.
Firstly, now Benfica Real Madrid drawn, fine. Villarreal gets drawn, right, first, and lo and behold, Man United are pulled out. Now, if you don't know, we couldn't play Villarreal because we had them in our group.
Yeah, that doesn't seem quite right.
Right? Then, Atletico Madrid was next, and Manchester United wasn't even in the draw for that one. Because according to the computer, we couldn't play Atletico Madrid, which is a load of nonsense. And Liverpool's ball was in there. But Liverpool couldn't play Atletico Madrid because they played them. Right? Lo and behold, this was the first draw. It was Benfica v Real Madrid, Villarreal v Man City, Atletico Madrid v Bayern Munich, tasty guy, Salzburg v Liverpool, Inter Milan Ajax, Juventus v Sporting, Chelsea v Lille, and Ronaldo v Messi and PSG v Man United.
Oh god, that'd have been so good.
Right, I went on a complete rant on Twitter because I was pissed.
This is pure fact. This is literally, I didn't even know anything had happened. Right, I was fully. I'm noticing a theme actually. This is like Silverstone Lapalites. I was just oblivious. I had no idea. And then I just kind of logged on Twitter and I was like, "Whoa, hang on a minute, something is kicking off here."
Right, so I've gone into a complete tirade saying this needs to be remade. How can this draw be possible? Considering we weren't in the draw for Atletico Madrid, we got drawn against Villarreal when we couldn't play them. This draw is a farce, right?
Yes.
Complete farce. So thankfully they were like, okay, yes, we made a mistake. We have to redo the draw. Fair enough. They owned up to the mistake.
Yeah.
Right? This is how the draw ended up. Salzburg v Bayern Munich. So Bayern Munich are a very happy team right now.
Oh God, do you think so? Yeah, maybe actually, yeah.
Sporting Lisbon v Manchester City, Benfica v Ajax, Chelsea got Lille again.
That is my favourite thing about this whole, no matter how much they cocked out,
right.
We just ended up with Lille again.
Manchester United ended up joining Atletico Madrid, which I thought was funny. Villarreal v Juventus, Liverpool, who had Salzburg, now have a tricky tie against Inter Milan, and the tie of the round, PSG v Real Madrid.
Oh, that's going to be such a good game.
Now, if I was Real Madrid, I would be pissed, considering they got Benfica the first time round. And to be fair to Real Madrid, and they made this statement quite clear, the mistakes were made after they got drawn.
Yeah.
Right? So in a sense, I agree with them in the fact that, you know what, they should have actually redid it after.
It is probably the only time that something has come out of Florentino Perez's mouth, and I've said, actually, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Right? But unfortunately, they redid the whole thing, and they ended up being cucked.
Yeah.
So, in regards to all that, what do you make of the ties now? It's going to be some interesting games for sure.
Certainly some good ones. Look, I think Chelsea have done. I think we've done quite well out of this. To be honest, yeah. I mean, you'd have to say that like the biggest losers in all of this are going to be Real Madrid. They, like I said, it's not often that Florentino Perez comes out with something and I'm like, that's a good point. But that's a good point. I'd be fuming if I was him. I know they are, or at least were, potentially looking to take this further. I don't know if anything's actually come of that. or whether they've, actually taken it any further. I don't know if it went anywhere, but there's some good ties. I mean, to be honest, I'm looking forward to watching you guys play Atleti. I know, Atletico Madrid, obviously Liverpool obviously played them in the group, and they were just as fiery as ever. Very red card happy. So I mean, any tie against Atleti has got potential for juice. So I'm excited for that. Inter Liverpool as well. That's a cracking draw. I mean, obviously, Inter have sold a lot of their best players, like obviously Romelu Lukaku, Hakimi's gone as well, but they're still a really good team. Obviously, don't make any mistake on that. They shouldn't be slept on, and that shouldn't be looked at as a tie that Liverpool are just going to get straight through. So I think there's still some good ones. And I also kind of look at it, and obviously, Villarreal got drawn against you guys initially, which was, or had potential to get drawn against you guys, which was, very normal. And they've ended up with Juventus. And to be honest, I look at that for them and I see that as like winnable for Villarreal. I mean, Juventus this season, we've played them. We played them once and lost 1-0. I won't lie, not our finest moment. And then we kind of turned up the second time and made them look like a Sunday league team. Like genuine domination. And I mean, looking at their form in Serie A, what is going on at Juventus? Like, I think of all the times to draw them in the last 16, I think this is a good time. I'm genuinely looking at this Villarreal and thinking that's an opportunity for last 8 football here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I look at the ties and just like, I'll just list off who I think will go through each one, right?
Go for it.
I Bayern Munich, I think, is the given.
Yeah.
Right, Bayern Munich's a given. Man City will beat Sporting.
Yeah.
Ajax, I think, will beat Benfica.
Ajax are good this season.
Yeah.
Very good.
Now, if this was Lille of last season, I think Chelsea might have been in trouble.
Yeah.
But because obviously they are the French champions. The problem is Lille this season for the 10th in the French league.
Yeah, it's not really happened, does it?
So I would, and over 2 legs, I would fancy Chelsea. Now, this might just be biased. I will pick United. I actually think, considering they're so defensive, I actually think might suit us a bit more, because if you look at teams that have been playing us recently, the teams that attack us, go forward, and don't give a shit. There's like, because like obviously when you played Man United in the past, some teams were like, shit, this is Man United. We're screwed. No team does this anymore. But with the way Atletico Madrid play, I think might suit. Obviously, they have a low block, and we do struggle against the low block. And they do have Suarez, and they do have Griezmann, so that's a problem. But I just think Ronaldo's missed the Champions League. I just think he might just carry us through that. I
also feel like Atleti are kind of like a danger to themselves. When watching them against Liverpool, it just seems like if you sort of play them hard enough and get under their skin, eventually they will just do something silly and kind of shoot themselves in the foot, and you just kind of have to try and draw it out of them. So I think that's always, not that coming up against Atletico Madrid is just like easy, but that's always something you can be like, well, there is something there we can get out of them.
And then obviously Villarreal Juventus, I think, is actually one of the hardest games to call, because I think Villarreal could cause an upset. I do think Juventus will edge it.
Okay.
But I think Liverpool, will dispatch Inter quite easily.
You think so?
I think so.
To be fair, if their front 3 are firing, then they could dispatch anyone.
And it's hard to judge PSG Real Madrid because the Spanish teams aren't as strong. So I will pick PSG.
Okay.
So yeah, and obviously the other thing in the Champions League we haven't mentioned is the fact that Barcelona didn't qualify.
I was just about to come on to that. Yeah, so no Barcelona.
You're in the Europa League.
If Barcelona get West Ham some point in their Europa League run, I am going to try my darndest to get tickets to that game and become a member of the West Ham faithful for a day.
Yeah, you know what?
What a tie that'd be.
The thing is, just by how Barcelona, Real Madrid, Barcelona are playing, I'd give West Ham a good shot of beating them.
100%.
I generally would, because West Ham, right, are generally for me a top 4 fighting side now, right? David Moyes has done to West Ham what he did for Everton, made them a top 4 challenging, top 6 defo side. So I would give West Ham a shot. And the only other thing I do want to mention regarding European football, and obviously if you want to add anything else, we will. Tottenham got booted out, really.
Yeah, that was the only other thing I was thinking. I don't really, again, this is one of those things, I don't really get what happened. So they couldn't play a game because of COVID. And then it was just given as a 3-0 win to the other team. Correct. Yes. So hence they've been knocked out.
Yes. I don't agree with it.
No. Look, as funny as it was when I heard about it, it is just one of those things you kind of laugh at. And, that your first thought is that's a bit Spursy, isn't it? That's the way they'd get knocked out of the... Yeah, I don't agree. But has anything happened with it, though? Because I know when it happened, it was we're going to take this further.
I think they were going to appeal it, but I think since then they've decided not to.
I mean, it's one of those things. It might be a weird blessing in disguise in that with Conte coming in, he's trying to reform the team. Maybe less football to focus on could be a good thing. It's a weird thing, but it's kind of like when Conte was at Chelsea and we had such a piss poor season the season before. We didn't have Champions League football to worry about. That ended up just working in our favor because everyone we were competing against was playing 2-3 games a week. And we literally just had Premier League game. That was it. So, it's annoying, but it just leaves Conte to focus on, getting top 4, which I'd argue is probably Spurs' biggest objective, other than getting a trophy, I guess.
Maybe an FA Cup run.
Yeah, for sure. But so that's, I kind of, until we've actually sat down and hashed out what we're going to talk about today, I kind of forgot all of this happened. So much has gone on, so much, and there's still so much more. So we're going to do a quick, not quick, but we're going to obviously go through the Premier League table and have a halfway sort of roundup. Now, I guess we can kind of touch on 2 birds with 1 stone here, because at the halfway point, you'd have to say for Newcastle, it's looking pretty grim. One win all season. Jesus Christ, didn't realize it was quite that bad. 1 win all season. They've played 2 less games than Burnley, who are the team above them, or 2 more games than Burnley, rather. Sorry, I can't English. And 1 more than Watford, who are the team above them. But Newcastle have a bit of spare change in the bank now. They have done some digging down the back of the sofa and found a fair whack of cash. Again, if you have been living under a rock or have not had access to internet for a while, people that didn't pass the fit and proper ownership test all of a sudden did. And now Newcastle are the richest club in the world? Question mark. So that's happened. They've signed Kieran Trippier, which that's a pretty huge signing.
Considering he was maybe a sign for us.
And then a couple of days after that, got knocked out the FA Cup by Cambridge. But, you know, we move on. That's fine. You know, just focus on the Premier League. FA Cup is not the concern right now. But yeah, I mean, because I know obviously there's a lot of money coming in. Let's not beat around the bush. There's a lot.
They're obviously just about to also sign Chris Wood.
Yes, which is potentially the ultimate power play because that's weakening Burnley, who are literally the team above them, and strengthening themselves as well. So that's a big dick move if they get that over the line. But yeah, do you think they're going to be able to claw themselves out of this, even with this big investment, which I say with a pinch of salt, to be fair? It's not as if like Kylian Mbappe has walked through the door. Not that Tierney, that's definitely not who you signed for them. Not that Trippier is a bad player, but you know, it's not as if they've had Haaland walk into St. James's Park or something. What do you think? Obviously, they've played 9 teams. They're slap bang down the middle of the season. 1 win, 8 losses, or 8 draws, 10 losses. Eesh.
So in other words, do you think I think they'll survive?
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, fair.
Reason being is before this money even came in, Newcastle were playing badly.
Yeah.
Newcastle absolutely demolished us, which actually isn't freaking hard at the minute. But you know, as Newcastle have been playing well, but their problem is they can't sustain it and they concede.
They can't keep a clean sheet to save their
life. They can't keep a clean sheet to save their life. Now, Norwich, unfortunately for me, are going down. Right, they're 2-0 down to West Ham as we speak.
Is it 2? Oh, dear.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, was going to be a hard game regardless because West Ham are a very good team.
Yeah.
But Norwich, I think, they're doomed. They're just not good enough for the Premier League.
I mean,
unfortunately,
they've admitted they're not doing any business in January as well, which I mean, that's writings on the wall. Really.
I have said, and I think I might have mentioned this in the previous video, but I can't remember. I do think it's Burnley's time.
I'm coming round to that now.
Yeah,
if Chris Wood goes, that's another blow. I mean,
Chris Wood has gone. Basically, Newcastle have a better chance of staying up because of this money's coming in.
Yeah,
I want to stay in the Premier League. I'm moving. That's what he's done, right? And I do think the third team will be Watford.
Yeah, I think Leeds and up will be okay. Like I know Leeds have been not great this
season. We will get onto Leeds, by the way. Because I actually think the fans need to be realistic now. I just think the bottom 3 will be Norwich bottom, sadly, Burnley and Watford in the whichever way. I think Newcastle will be all right.
I think the thing is,
I think Eddie Howe will do well for them.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think especially once he gets players that are more suited to him, like trying to play Eddie Howe football with a Steve Bruce underfunded squad is always going to be a challenge. So, you know, if he can get some players in and sort of mold it more towards what he wants to do, I think he'll have much more of a sort of fighting chance and there'll be a lot more up for and in games as well, I think.
Yeah. Now, quick question on Newcastle then.
Yeah,
I want to bring it up. If Newcastle stay up, they're obviously going to invest quite heavily.
Yes, one would assume.
In the summer. Now, for argument's sake, right? Because it was a similar position, right, to Manchester City.
Okay.
Right. If Newcastle were to win the Premier League, right, would you be? Because I've always been under the assumption Man City have only really established themselves as a big club ever since they've got the money.
Sure.
Right. Do you think Newcastle would be in the same would you basically call Newcastle the next Man City? Because, for example, to me, I would be pissed because of like you only winning the Premier League because of money. But at the same time, I would be less pissed off because I think Newcastle were a bigger club than Man City in the first place.
That's where I would go with that. Newcastle has a rich like heritage and history behind them already. In terms of obviously like recent successes and stuff, you'd probably be quite hard pressed to say that like Newcastle are a big club. But in terms of just their stature within like English football as a whole, you'd say they're a big club. Like I feel like I look at kind of Aston Villa the same way, right? Like, recently they haven't, been like mad successful, but you still look at them as a team that's won a European Cup, and like you look at them as like a team with like heritage, and they are like a big club. So no, I think in that regard, I wouldn't, because I get what you mean. It's very I guess almost easy to just kind of look at Man City, and I guess people would probably say the same about like Chelsea as well to like an extent, and it's very easy to look at it as like it's a plastic club, or however you want to call it. But no, I think I'd be on your side with that, because Newcastle have such a like a rich heritage already. I think I'd see it more of just them getting back to where a club of their size probably should be. In terms of,
well, considering what was it? I think it was in the 95-96 season. They were like 10 points ahead of United, and were going to win the league. And then Keegan did that rant, and then obviously went on to not win the Premier League.
Yeah, something like that. That's in the grand scheme of things, that's not even that long ago.
No, it's not even. It's not even that long ago. And the thing is, just like I kind of like the reason why I don't necessarily like go or Chelsea win because of Abramovich. The only reason I say that is because even like in the 90s, Chelsea were a consistent top 6 side.
Yeah.
So like, and because the thing is, right, I don't think Newcastle would have ever done a Leicester with their squad. There's just there's just no way. Right? Leicester was just like a complete one-off. Like, do I think a Leicester will happen again? Yes, I think a team will do a Leicester again.
At some point.
I just think because let's not be funny, Blackburn has won the Premier League, so it's not at the realm of possibilities. And to be honest with you, my most likelihood team at the minute would be Aston Villa, but that's just
love it. Steven Gerrard brings the Premier League to Villa Park.
I mean, come on, they just signed Coutinho. I don't know how they pulled that off, but but look, I do think Newcastle will be okay. But just going off of it, so let's just run through the table. So Norwich are bottom. I think they will stay bottom.
Yeah.
The funny and ironic thing is, like, they're only 3 points behind.
It is surprisingly tight between those bottom 4. It's crazy.
Obviously, Newcastle 19th, I think they'll be fine. Burnley, I think they're gone. I think it's Burnley's time. Watford, I also think will be gone. So
I guess the interesting thing about Watford is they have lost 7 in a row. So how Ranieri still has his job, I don't know. Because this would be a strange time for
managers have been sacked for way less with Watford.
Yeah, this would be a strange time for the Watford ownership to be like, actually, we're going to stick with this one. So I guess that's a bonus if you're a team that's below Watford at the moment, is they're going to change managers at least one more time this season. So that's there's going to be some unrest in that team. But yeah, I think it's between those bottom 4 for relegation. I think.
Okay, so then we have Leeds. Now, look, Leeds, you need to start realizing you need to have a freaking plan B. Like, it's actually like a good Premier League side knows when
what they're doing isn't working.
When what they're doing isn't working, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? I actually think if Leeds didn't turn it around quite recently, because obviously I think they'll be fine, but they're not where their fans think they should be. I think they're where they should be. But if they carried on, I think Bielsa should go. And to be honest with you, I think if they keep Bielsa and he doesn't decide to change, Leeds will be in trouble.
Yeah, no, I get that. I guess you do have to preface it with, I know they've struggled a lot with injuries this season.
Yes,
like
I
know
do agree
how important Bamford is for them, and for the majority of the season he's been unavailable. So, you know, you do have to give them some sort of semblance of a benefit of the doubt. But I agree. I think the criticism of Leeds in this current era is what the criticism of Leeds in this current era has always been, and it's that if Plan A doesn't work, what do we do? Because they just kind of seem to double down on it, and it's not, if it wasn't working before, it's not going to randomly start working now.
Yeah, exactly. And I said that in a previous video, the teams have found them out. And realistically, if it wasn't for the fact that the other four teams below them are just as bad, they'd be in trouble. They'd be in massive, massive trouble. And as I said, if Leeds don't change, they will get relegated. I think they might get relegated next season. Obviously, you never know who's going to come up. And well, I do think Fulham are coming up next season. But it's, Leeds are a very interesting team, but I do think they need to develop a plan B. In 15th place is Everton, which is an absolute wow.
Yeah, that's a team that needs to be talked about. Like,
how Benitez is still in that job, I have no idea.
Yeah, but what is going on? Like, Luca Dean, who arguably probably one of their best players. I don't know who in that squad I'd put above him. Maybe probably Calvert-Lewin? Probably better.
Charlton.
Anyway. Oh, yeah, okay, fair. But Luca Dean is one of the better players in that team. And now he's like on the verge, or not even on the verge. I'm pretty sure Fabrizio Romano has done a here we go. So it's official. And he's literally going to the team that's above them in the table. Like, what are you doing?
Everton are a mess. And the thing is, I'm not surprised. And the reason being is I knew Benitez wouldn't work out. No. I just knew. Because no matter what, Benitez was not going to get the love from the Everton fans. He just wasn't. He did too much for Liverpool for Everton to be like, nah, it's all right.
For sure.
Don't get me wrong. They've got some good players, which is what I find. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin, I think, has been injured, which I think has been a big miss.
Yeah, similar to Leeds with Bamford. Like, he's so important to them.
He's so important, and obviously they signed Demarai Gray, which I actually think is a steal because he's one of those players for Everton that can hold his head high because he's been playing very, very well.
He's been quality, yeah.
But defensively, Everton are all over the place.
It has not been good.
And you'd think of Everton teams defensively, they were very solid, and going forward, like they might not be the best going forward, but they could have that moment they could just nick a goal.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I'm looking at them and I'm like, I don't know. The fact that I even see the number 15 next to them, to me, is just weird.
Nah, for sure.
For a team like Everton.
I think the other thing, because I don't want to entirely pin this on Rafa Benitez, but again, like yourself, I think that appointment was never going to work. As soon as they announced it, I just thought, oh, good God. Like, I know the reception he got when he came to Chelsea, let alone going to literally the arch rivals of arguably your most famous team. Like, that's tough. But I kind of see the Everton situation as, it's kind of very similar, but not quite as dramatic as like the Barcelona situation, in that this Everton team is just a mishmash of way too much spending, of, 3 or 4 or 5 different managers who've all wanted very different things. And now obviously Benitez has had to come in, try and figure something out with this team that has, obviously very individual, really good players. And then some of them, or some players that you're just kind of like, I don't understand how you fit into this team. He's obviously had financial fair play restrictions because of their kind of crazy spending in seasons gone by. Hence why he's had to get in people like, like Townsend, like Solomon Rondon, who is somehow a Premier League footballer. I don't know. And then obviously, the bargain that they got for Damari Gray, which, yeah, to be fair, that's arguably pound for pound got to be signing of the season, surely. But it's like I said, I do see a lot of similarities between the Barcelona situation, that it's just years on years on years of overspending, buying people in the wrong areas, and it has all kind of come up to this. So I don't think it's all Rafa's fault, but yeah, I agree. From the moment he walks in there, I think that was it's doomed. I should preface, I'm talking about him like he's been sacked. As of recording this video, he is still in a job. By the time it goes up, he might not be, but we'll see.
So in 14th we have Aston Villa. A bit of a surprise considering their squad, but I think they've been very unlucky in a lot of games.
Stevie G's made them look good as well. They've been good.
They've obviously just signed Coutinho, which I don't know how the hell they pulled out, and that's with an option to buy as well. So that is very. And they've just obviously signed Lucas. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Digna. He's on the way to Villa.
He's on his way to Villa, which is another good sign-in. You still don't know what other business he wants to do.
No.
When you have someone like Danny Ings up front, you always got to go for it.
And the thing is, they've still got all the business they've done in the summer window as well. Like, we still have to see like the full potential of like Leon Bailey, like Emi Buendia hasn't really been like fully firing in a Villa shirt yet. You've still got Ings, Watkins. Like, I think the one place I probably would strengthen is probably in defense. I still just personally don't think, if they've got aspirations of really pushing for like top 6 or something like that, I don't think Tyrone Mings is the guy that's going to get you there. I guess with him being club captain, it makes it complicated, but I think that's probably their most glaringly obvious improvement other than that. But they're an interesting team. I don't see them being down there for that long.
So 13th is Brentford, and you know what? Full credit to them. They're going to stay up.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
They'll be completely fine, and fantastic job, because a lot of people had them down, going straight back down. So
pretty sure I did. So,
I think I did as well. So full credit to them, full credit to their fans. Fantastic job. And considering I don't think they did that much business in the summer.
No, I think they're quite a sort of shrewd club in terms of signings. So that you wouldn't really expect, and they just kind of work out.
Full credit to them. I think a real test for them will be second season syndrome, as you probably call it, for newly promoted teams. So we'll see. In 12th is Crystal Palace. Now Vieira has done a good job at Palace.
100%.
Very good. Conor Gallagher looks a player. So I think Palace will go for a formal bid for Gallagher.
I wouldn't blame them. I think it's also one of those things where I wouldn't necessarily blame Gallagher if he left.
I don't think Gallagher would get in the Chelsea team, which I think
that's what I mean. And he's clearly proven that he's deserving of that.
He got an England call up as well, so
exactly. And I don't think, I don't think there's. I guess what I'm trying to say is, how many players realistically can Chelsea keep that are first team quality that we just continuously loan out? I'm kind of worried that Billy Gilmour is going to go the same way. I really like Billy Gilmour, but where on earth does he fit into our midfield given who we've got at the moment? Like, it's just he just doesn't.
You just can't see it.
But I think Crystal Palace, it'd be a good move for him. He clearly likes the club. It clearly works for him. It works for Vieira. Like it, I think it'd be a good move for him.
Yeah. So in the 11th we have Southampton, which, you know what, I think at the start, I said Southampton might have been in trouble, but Southampton were fine. Like
Big Ralph, he just finds a way. Because I know a lot of people really like flip flop on Hassan Hüttl, on like whether he's actually a good manager or not. And I won't lie, I do have moments like that where sometimes they'll pull out a performance and it's like, what the fuck was that? And then sometimes they'll have games like they did yesterday against Brentford where they were unbelievable. Like they're so weird, but I've always liked Hassan Hüttl. So yeah, he's doing a good job mid-table. That's what they need.
A little bit of a surprise is seeing Leicester City in 10th place.
I mean, they just had an awful start to the season.
They've had an awful start, and the problem with Leicester is they can't stop conceding. That is Leicester's problem. Going forward, they will always score goals, but at the back, they're a bit of a mess.
Now, one thing I did find quite funny, actually, this is a stolen joke from somebody on the internet. I can't remember who you are, so I'm really sorry. But, just know that it was a good joke.
I'm giving you credit for this, yeah.
But someone made a point that obviously Southampton lost twice, 9-0, which is, that's quite unfortunate. Now, in terms of strengthening Leicester's defence, Leicester signed 2 players that played in that 9-0 losing team, in Vestergaard and Ryan Bertrand, and subsequently can't stop conceding goals. Now, is that a coincidence? I don't know. Especially when you're one of the teams that dishes out one of those 9-0 wins and then signs 2 players from them. That's questionable behaviour.
Yeah, very, very questionable. But Leicester aren't in a position where they will sack Brendan Rodgers or anything like that. God, no.
Oh, God, no. After won them the FA Cup.
Yeah, especially. I expect them to have a fantastic FA Cup run again. They obviously have Forest next, who knocked out Arsenal. Just putting out there.
I forgot that happened.
I have to bet at Arsenal once, because when we get to Arsenal, I actually can't bet at them. So
no, fair, make the most of it.
So 9th, and for me, one of the surprises and teams of the season, Brighton.
I mean, Graham Potter.
Yeah, like what he's done for that club is a bit ridiculous. And I know everyone hates on Neil Maupay. I get why, but he's a consistent goal scorer for them. Lamptey's a fantastic player. They have Basuma, who, how he's still there, I don't understand.
Yeah.
But Graham Potter has them playing. And you used to think Brighton, that's okay, should be a good 3 points. Now you look at Brighton, shit, crap, this is going to be a hard game.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not even as if they, play like shithouse football and just try and be really good defensively and then get you on the counter-attack. Like, they play solid, like nice football. Like they're a genuine, like scary team now. Like, like, it's not as if we're going to turn up and get beaten on the counter attack. Like we might turn up, lose, and get outplayed as well. Like that's never a good combination. So I mean, like I said, fair play to Graham Potter for working with what he's working with and coming up with the results he is.
Eventually a team will be like, you know what, can we nick Potter?
For sure. For sure. I don't know where we would, because I don't know if he'd go straight to like a top 6 team.
No.
Maybe like where would a step up from Brighton be though? From them right now, I was going to say Villa, but yeah,
Everton.
They're not. Oh, that's a good shout actually. That's another video anyway.
Yes. So in 8th place, and I think we both said this with regard to this, 8th place is Wolves. Now, Wolves, we both said once they got their act together and start scoring a bit more goals, they would actually be doing well.
100%.
They still haven't been scoring that many goals. However, they do play fantastic football, and they played Man United off the park. Again, that's not hard. At the minute, it pisses me off even saying that. But yeah, Wolves, fair play to them. Obviously, they might be losing Adama Traore. With obviously the Spurs link still
Mhm.
there. We'll see. But yeah, Wolves can't say anything really.
It's just impressive to have only scored 14 goals and have 28 points. So to have a ratio of 1 goal equals 2 points. That's just what more is there to say? Like they're clinical. They get business done with
Yeah.
a minimal of fuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was so obvious though. Like at the start of the season, I know they started the season off like really badly results wise, but we both
Performances.
we both said it. They were in every single game. They were so much better than the results like on paper said they were. So it's no surprise to see them up here. And I'm sure they'll continue it. They're a really good team. They're a good team.
In seventh place is my team, which is United, which I'm just goes to show how bad we are. But we've talked about United enough. Sex is sex six. Sorry, might be on the brain.
Excuse me.
In sixth place is Antonio Conte's Spurs, because obviously.
Honestly saying that still makes me throw up a little bit in my mouth. It makes me very unhappy.
Conte has Spurs playing very well.
Yes.
I do think Spurs will get top four. I think
Okay.
I actually think Conte will. I think that will separate, because I actually think the top four will be City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs. That's my top four at halfway point.
I mean, Tottenham have still got games in hand as well. That's the
Yeah,
most dangerous thing about it.
that is the most dangerous thing. Obviously, and I also think if they get top four, I think Kane stays. I I do think that will happen. And
Mhm.
then Conte will also have the summer transfer window to be like, okay, we need this player, this player, this player. If Spurs
Yeah,
back in, Tottenham will be a very, very dangerous side next year.
big time. He's shown that he's demanding both of his players and on a board level,
Mm,
he will ask a lot of the club, but
mm,
he also proves that everywhere he goes, if you give him what he needs,
mm.
he will give you exactly what
Yeah.
you want from him.
Now, in fifth place, former Banter FC, Arsenal.
Yeah,
Uh,
current actual OKFC.
yeah,
I'll allow it,
like
Arsenal.
like Arsenal have surprised me big time. It has helped they've had no European football.
Yeah.
Um, they did just got knocked out by Forest in the FA Cup,
Yeah,
but
we should. I can't let that go. That
now
didn't think you'd got away with that one, did
a
you?
good example of how well they've improved is you just took a look at that game. Yes, they lost to Man City, but they should have won that game.
Oh, that's the best performance of the season. They're
Like
amazing.
Ramsdale has been a fantastic signing for them. Absolutely fantastic. Tomiyasu, solid right back.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the only problem they've had is Aubameyang this season, who, quite frankly, I'm glad Arteta's probably dealt with it in the right play. When Aubameyang was playing for them, Arsenal were doing very well. Ever since I think obviously he's going, so where he's going, I don't know, but fair play to Arsenal. They've done very, very well. However,
Mm.
if they finish top six
Yeah.
and they get European football, I want to see how well they will do, because
Yes.
I just think the fact that they've got no European football has helped them amazingly. And let's be honest, okay, yes, they're still in the Carabao Cup, but obviously they just got knocked out of the FA Cup by Forest. But I think it'll be very, very interesting, because in the past, Arsenal have not handled that very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be very, very interesting to see how well they do.
Sure.
But obviously time will tell. There's still a long way to go in the season. I know Arsenal fans are still divided to see if Arteta is the right man still.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously as Arsenal being one of your big rivals as well. What's your take on them?
So I actually rather interestingly, as of this being recorded, literally last night, I was actually out at dinner with my brother, who's a Chelsea fan, and his best friend, who's an Arsenal fan. So I got some pretty first-hand juice about about the kind of feeling around this team. And to be fair, as much as I never really tend to agree with Arsenal fans that much, there were a couple of things that he said that did make sense and I agreed with. And I think one of those is, for the first time in a long time, it does actually feel like Arsenal have a project and they're going somewhere. The signings that Arteta has made in the last window specifically have all been very good, and you can tell there's a mold of player that he's going for. There is an end result in sight. And, again, as much as I love to banter on them, of course I do. Like, if anything happens to Tottenham, Arsenal, United, whatever, of course I'm going to laugh at it. I love it. But Arsenal being the historic club that they are, it is kind of nice in a way to see them on some kind of resurgence. Obviously, I'd be equally as happy if it just went straight back down again.
Of
But
course.
it does actually feel for a change like there is, they're going somewhere. There's something in mind. But yes, I would agree with your point that lack of European football has helped. Because as good as this team is playing right now, and I do think they've got a fairly good team now. Like, it's starting to mold itself into a good team. Like, Martinelli is looking fantastic. And there's other kind of highlights as well, like in Aubameyang's absence. Like, they've had other stand-ins, and I think Lacazette, although he hasn't really been scoring goals, he's been kind of
They're
stepping up
lacking a
and doing other
striker.
bits. Yeah, big time.
They're lacking a striker. That's Arsenal's, I think, flaw at the minute. It's just they're just lacking a striker.
Yeah, for sure.
So it'll be interesting to see and who they get. So, but yeah, Arsenal are an interesting team, and we'll see.
I just think you are right about the European football, though, because I mean, at the moment, their kind of main team is pretty good, but when you start getting into like the depth of the team, it's like,
yeah,
there's not that much there. Whereas like with I guess if you want to call them like the sort of like elite clubs at this like moment in time, like us, City, Liverpool, like, if something goes wrong, there is someone to step in, and there is like a clear plan.
A good example of this, and I know I'm bantering them because of the FA Cup access, but this is just generally on topic. The change side against Forest didn't work.
Yes,
and
that's
that
kind
is
of case in point.
That is a perfect example. Arsenal, went with that team, and it just didn't work out, and their strength of depth is not great.
Yeah, I think that's their main.
Yeah,
that's their main concern at the moment, I think. So yeah, I think you're right. I think if they do qualify for some kind of European football, it will be interesting to see how they manage it. But I mean, West Ham, who we're going to come on to next, they're managing very well considering their squad is tiny. Obviously now they're having issues with obviously Antonio having some big fitness issues. That's kind of coming to bite them. But I mean, they're still doing all right. A little West Ham, little plucky West Ham. I'm impressed. I won't lie. I'm
West
impressed.
Ham are a very, very good team.
Yeah, big time.
Very, very good team. Like, if you look at your fixtures and you see that your team is playing West Ham, you're like, oh crud.
Yeah.
If we're not at our best, we're in trouble.
They always used to be a bogey team for Chelsea anyway. Like, even when they were terrible, I would see them on the fixtures and be like, dang it, I don't like that, because they just kind of know how to beat us, like, there's just those teams where it's like they have our number. They just somehow know what to do against us. But now that they're good as well, it's like, oh, I really don't like that. Like, I know last season, literally the only reason we beat them is because I think it was Cresswell got sent off for something that was never a red card, but that was the only reason we won, because they were like by far the better team with 11 v 11. Obviously they've already beaten us this season, which, don't want to talk about it. But like you said, they're a good team. And I would a part of me would love them to make top four. I think that would be wicked for them. But I think if they do fall off a little bit and end this season in like fifth, sixth, or maybe even seventh, if they, go deep in the Europa League or maybe even win the thing, who knows? Then what a season that would be for West Ham.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Third place we have Liverpool.
Yes.
Now Liverpool, I think what's let Liverpool down this season is actually the defense.
Yeah, I'd agree.
A good perfect example, right? Is Man City played awful against Arsenal. Fair enough, that was Arsenal playing. It was more Arsenal playing well.
Yeah.
Than Man City really playing bad. But Man City found a way to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool were 2-0 up against Brighton and drew that game.
Yeah.
At home. Now, I think that's what's letting Liverpool down is they're having results here and there that are just, you look back on it and you're like, yeah, we should have won that game.
To be fair, I mean, I guess we might as well just, talk about the whole thing. So just above Liverpool is us. We're a point ahead. We've played a game more. And then somehow, seemingly out of nowhere, City are now 10 points clear at the top. So let's leave City out of this. But I think the way you spoke about Liverpool just then, that really gives me big Chelsea vibes at the moment. Like, I'm looking at our record and our last 5 is 4 draws and a win. And the thing at the beginning of the season with us was we might not score many going forward. We might only get 1, maybe 2 a game. But 99 times out of 100, I was very confident we'd walk away with a clean sheet. And we were conceding little to no goals. Now the problem is, we seem to have rectified it a little bit more recently, but we went through a massive stage of still not scoring any, but also like losing our quality of keeping a clean sheet, which was the one thing that, or not the one thing, but was one of the main things that really kept us competitive, like with teams like City. And the thing is, when you've got a team that's as good as City are, all it really takes is one blip. And, I look at it now, like just over halfway through the season for us with 21 games played, to be 10 points behind a team like a Pep Guardiola City, that feels like it's going to be unattainable from this point on.
So let's just finish like the table thing off. So obviously Chelsea we've talked about. Chelsea second place.
Yeah.
The fact that City are 10 points clear without a striker is scary. I don't like it.
Yeah, imagine if they do get Haaland.
Oh my god! And you know what? It's scary because the fact is, we said at the start when we did our predictions, we didn't think City were going to win the league because they didn't have a striker. No, behold, halfway through the season, they're freaking 10 points clear.
I know, and it did kind of seem to happen almost out of nowhere. Like, I get that we drew 4 games, and obviously Liverpool started dropping points as well. But all of a sudden, it's just kind of happened, and it's like, oh. They're 10 points clear. Oh, right. What? Oh, okay. Oh, well. I guess that's it then. I mean, it's hard to see them not winning it from here.
Oh, they've won it. I don't think they're getting catched.
Yeah.
There's no way they're gonna have a massive blip. I can't see it unless they have a huge amount of injuries. But even with this squad, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think they'd do what Pep does. They would find a way to work through it. Zinchenko up top, maybe. Yeah, and Ederson then finally fulfills his midfield dreams.
Obviously Salah's at the African Cup of Nations, and Mane. And Mane, so it's a huge miss for Liverpool. Yeah, okay, yes, City's missing Mahrez, but yeah.
But then it's even like we've got Mendy out at the moment. Yeah. And Kepa is having a good season, to be fair. I have said it because I'm the first person to jump on Kepa's back about him being terrible. I won't, probably not the best Chelsea fan thing to do, but I am the first person there for some Kepa slander.
Mm.
He is having a good season. He arguably won us the Super Cup, and when he has been called upon, he's been good, but he is not Mendy. Let's be realistic about this.
For sure.
Even good on form Kepa is not Mendy, and that's I think the losses for us and Liverpool are just so huge in comparison to what City are losing.
Yeah. So that's really the halfway point of the season. So we'll end up with two things because I wanted to we'll do our awards.
Okay.
And I do want to end off talking about the COVID situation because I'm kind of not happy with at least one manager who I think is being a bit of a bitch, but
Okay, I think I know who that's going to be. But yeah, okay, fine.
So goalkeeper.
Are we just doing like one of every position, so like goalkeeper, defender, midfielder?
And then we'll do sign in, so far, and flop.
Okay, fine.
So goalkeeper, who do you have?
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't put any thought into these prior to recording, so I probably should have done that. But it's fine. It's fine because I think a lot of fans are getting carried away with how good he is, but I will allow it because he came into a club I didn't think he was going to make any impact at all, and he has. I'm going to struggle not to give it to Ramsdale purely on the fact that when they signed him, I just didn't see that going anywhere. I thought they let Emi Martinez go for way less than they signed him for, and I thought that is stupid. But again, having dinner with this Arsenal fan yesterday, again, taking his opinions with a pinch of salt. But, you do now kind of think, like, who actually is Bernd Leno? Because, like, Ramsdale has just made that position his own.
Yeah,
so
he is.
I will allow. I think at this point in the season, again, let's not get carried away. He's had a good half season, but, let's calm down. But right now, he is smashing it. I can't say that he's not.
Yeah. I will give it to Ramsdale, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I can't give it to De Gea because I feel like it's way too biased.
No, he was the only other person I would consider for it. So
because De Gea, despite our shortcomings, has been back to his best, and without him, it's just
it is literally like you said earlier. He's one of the only players in that United dressing room who at the moment can just hold his head high and be like, I am doing my job. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, fair.
But I'll give it to Ramsdale. Defender, I'm gonna give it to João Cancelo.
Yeah.
I don't think you kind of can look past him, really. I don't think he's had a bad game for City all season.
I don't think he knows the definition of a bad game.
Yeah, I think João Cancelo has just been out of this world, and I hate saying it as a United fan, but he is probably is he right or left back?
I think he's a right back. I think he ends up playing left back a lot, but I'm pretty sure he is.
But even whatever back he is, he's the best player in that position in the world for me at the moment.
Fair.
So I don't know if he's your pick, but I have to give it to João Cancelo.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to disagree with you. That's the problem. I think kind of, I guess, like similar to you with the last pick, I do want to give like honorable mention to my guy Rudiger. And I'm fully aware that he probably only works in this system that he's currently playing. But in this Thomas Tuchel system, my God, he's bloody fantastic.
You know who I would have gave it to if he didn't get injured? Reece James.
Oh God, yeah, him. I mean, Chilwell as well. Those two were phenomenal. But yeah, I think I'd agree with Cancelo. He's on a different planet at the moment.
Yeah, that would go to midfield.
I'm really struggling to think of someone for midfield right now. If you've got someone, go ahead. I will
To be honest, I'm struggling.
Actually, I do have one. I think. Yeah, it's a. Do you know what? Yeah, whatever.
No, actually, I do. I have one actually.
It's a bit of a boring one, but Bernardo Silva.
That's who I was thinking. Yeah, Bernardo Silva. I just
Considering
think
he was like on the verge of leaving the club
Mm.
in the summer, he has been similar to like Cancelo, just in midfield. He's been different planet. He's been absolutely lights out this season. I think he walks
Absolutely.
into literally any team.
Yep.
He's absolutely out of this world at the moment.
Mm.
I don't even know who else I'd put
Yeah.
in the same
No,
bubble as him.
I don't think you can. So I think that self-explanatory. Now forward.
I think we're going to disagree because I feel like I have to give it to Mo Salah, but I feel like you're going to have a very spicy pick here.
I'm not picking Mo Salah.
Is it Timu Pukki?
No, my forward of the season so far is Antonio.
Fair, yeah, but yeah, all right, fair enough. Okay, that's not outrageous. I'll allow it.
I actually think Antonio's done bits for West Ham. He's done bits, and I can't give it to Salah. I can't do it.
No, fair. I also think with Antonio, there's not too many other players that could work in that system as well as Antonio does. Like, I can't really think off the top of my head of another player that does what Antonio does. You know, I think he's very much his own thing. I don't think there is another Mikel Antonio or someone that could just slot in there and do the same job. I understand and semi-respect why you can't give it to Mo Salah, but the man is just on absolute flames right now. So I'd be hard pressed to give it to anyone else. Again, obviously, anyone in the comment section, if you agree, disagree with us, get them down there. Let us know. I'm always really keen to, like on Twitter, I'm always really keen to like if someone disagrees with my opinion, just tell me. Like, just be honest. Go on, give me some debate. Let's get it going.
And we will probably talk about my dislike for Salah in another video.
Yeah, why not? Why
because
not?
I'm not saying he's not a good player because he is a fantastic player. Just I just have slight issues with him.
Okay, we can get onto that when it's like the next international break and nothing's going on. We can do some juicy topics. Right.
So flop. I think it's a tie between Grealish and Sancho. I think it's a tie. Because yes, City are top of the league, but I still don't think Grealish has done enough.
The problem is even if Grealish is really, really good, he is going to be not tainted, but he's going to have that price tag hanging over him. So almost no matter how good he is, like that is what is going to be stuck with him. I can't say Lukaku, can I? That'd be very rude.
I just think this. So Sancho showed some form in a few games, but I do also think that with everything that's going on, it has not helped him. So I can't put the whole blame on him.
No, that's fair.
That's why I have gone it's very hard, but I have to because I can't think of like the only reason I would put Lukaku in there is because of the price tag.
Yeah, I think it's the same sort of deal as Grealish, isn't it? Unless you're
and Sancho, regardless.
Yeah,
like their price tags come with a big weight on their shoulders. So
yeah.
It's very hard to judge, but yeah, I would
Yeah, I don't think I can give it to Grealish. I'm gonna say Sancho, but I'm also gonna again like pinch of salt. Under Ole, I don't think he was given a fair crack of the whip.
Mm.
And I think under the current like playing style and situation, it doesn't really suit him. So
Mm.
I'm gonna say him, but I think there is reason. I don't think it's just that United have paid way too much money and he's actually terrible. Like, I think there's circumstances that kind of mitigate it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that.
And signing.
Signing of the season.
I think realistically you can't have to give it to Ramsdale.
Oh, can't give him 2 awards. God, I'd
Um,
never hear the end of it if I gave him 2. Oh, but it is though, isn't it?
I can't really.
Philippe Coutinho to Villa. He's going to be sick.
I can't think of anyone really that comes close, because I'm looking at I'm just looking at the table and I'm like where would you go?
Yeah, that's really annoying, but it is going to be.
Like I can't believe I'm giving Arsenal fucking 2 awards. I can't believe this.
It is. It's going to have to be bloody Ramsdale, isn't it? Yeah. No. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Make the most of this. Right. This.
Yeah.
This won't last forever.
Actually, you
okay?
know what? Just because we're on the topic, we'll actually go with manager of the season so far, and I'm giving it to Graham Potter straight away.
Fair. Just for the sake of being different, I'm going to give it to Bruno Lage of Wolves, just because the style of play that he's implemented is so different to Nuno's, and I think everyone just kind of assumed that the squad would only be able to play like Nuno football, and attacking football just wasn't an option. And Bruno Lage has just kind of come in and been like, well, actually, and they're still high up the table as well as playing well. So just for the sake of being different, I will say Bruno Lage, but it's hard to argue with Graham Potter. I think he's done an exceptional job this season.
I think he's done fantastic. Now, last thing we will talk, because this has been 2 hours already, is because it has to be brought up, is the COVID situation.
Yes.
Now, there's been another incident in today's game, as the recording of this video, in Tottenham Chelsea. There was another incident. So yeah. Now, I think it might be getting to the point where fans can't go. But that's not particularly what I want to be talking about. And the main point is the postponements of certain matches.
Okay.
Now, when I was talking about a certain manager being a bit of a bitch, I was talking about Jurgen Klopp.
Oh God, I am surprised.
I completely disagree with the fact that the Carabao Cup semi-final against Arsenal got postponed. I don't agree with it. You have a big enough squad to play players. You've played youth in the Carabao Cup before, but now it's a semi-final. Now it's against Arsenal. Nah, we can't do it. I completely disagree. I could also completely disagree with some games being called off, and then some teams have been having to force to play. I don't agree with that.
That's my biggest problem, is how some games have been called off. But for example, when we were really short of players, and we could put out a really good first team, but the bench was horrific. Like the majority of our bench was goalies, but it was still like, no, you can play that game. That was like, okay, like what?
What's the difference between that and the Liverpool game?
Yeah, exactly. I don't get that.
And this is the thing. It's just like maybe I'm going a bit too harsh on Klopp, but he, from what I've seen, he has been the biggest moaner about this. Obviously, I don't know. I'm not a Liverpool fan, thank God, but I don't know the full issues of Liverpool. Right?
Sure.
I don't know. However, I don't agree with the moaning. Like, I get it. You've got players out because of COVID, but teams have been forced to play and they have smaller squads within you. I don't think it's fair. Like, and the thing is, and this is me holding up, we've been a big beneficiary of it because we had games postponed. I think United have been the biggest beneficiaries of postponements, right? And I'm like, well, I'm realistically, part of me is just like, I actually think we should have just played the games.
Yeah.
Like, I look at, like, I remember Norwich had to play a game with like many players out. I think Brentford was another one, and and I just look at it, and it's just like, I look at lower league, right? And lower league is postponement after postponement after postponement. But those teams I get.
Yeah.
They haven't got the squads, But Premier, like, I just think like certain matches that have been postponed, and you're like, nah, you're all right. I think you should have played. Like also, what was that? What was the Premier League game that got postponed with fans traveling to the game and were already there?
Oh, was it Spurs Burnley? Because there were those guys who'd come all the way from America to watch Spurs play, and they made it all the way to Burnley just for like 2 hours before kickoff for the game to be called off or something. I remember that was a big deal.
Well, yeah, I think it was that, and I'm looking and it's just like you. So I'm just gonna put this out there. You either postpone all or don't postpone any.
That was going to be my point. I think if they're going to do it, they just need to be like, right, for the next 2 weeks, we're just calling off all games to try and nip this in the bud, stop it spreading. Let's just get everything shut down, stop gap, and then hopefully in 2 weeks' time, we go again. Like if you're, if you're still having issues, then you at least should be in a place where your squad should be recovered, or you should have enough like a recovered squad to have at least had it and kind of got over it or something like that. I just, I don't get the logic of.
Yeah, it's just because the problem is, unfortunately, this is just not going to go away, and we're having to live with COVID. It's just, I'm hoping one day like scientists will make a breakthrough and we get a proper cure.
Yeah,
like fingers freaking crossed, because people are dying. It's not nice. And like if you are suffering from COVID or have family members, like I think we both agree, we pray for like their safety and like that they're all healthy and stuff. But in terms of like a football sense, we have to also think, we do have to think of player welfare. We do have to think about that. But just going on like in terms of like a football thing, it's just a bit silly. Like some games are just getting postponed, and it's just not fair. It's just like, it's just at the minute, if you're a big club and you ask for postponing, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, we'll postpone it. Small club, no, sorry, you got to play. The standards are just not fair.
No, I completely agree, to be honest. Like you said, it's so, how do they decide who is allowed postponement and who's not? Like it just doesn't make sense. Again, I know this is also like a very loaded and complex topic, but again, if you guys have anything you'd like to input about this, let us know. Like it's interesting. There's a lot, and it's not, it's not black and white. Nothing over the last 2 years has been. So if you guys have anything you want to input, then please let us know, because it's a loaded and complex topic, and it is something we need to talk about. It's not going away anytime soon, unfortunately. So it is something that's going to have to be talked about. But I think with that, I think that does bring us to the end of the bumper list of stuff. I mean,
it won't be that long in the future, we promise.
Hopefully. God. Yeah, we did just have a bloody large backlog of stuff to get through. So I promise, if you've made it this far, you are a trooper. Well played. Good job. I'm proud of you.
Round of applause.
But yeah, if you have made it this far, then if you've made it this far and you're not subscribed to the channel, then what are you doing? Click that subscribe button, because we're actually back now. We're actually going to be making videos again.
Yes.
So obviously, click that subscribe button, click the like button if you've enjoyed this massive rant about.
Follow us on Twitter.
Yes, I'll put all of our socials below. My Twitter, Shane's Twitter, the People's Game Twitter.
Yeah. So just to clarify, so Matty does a lot of like football, like obviously American football, other topics. I talk a lot about VTubers because I'm obsessed.
That's true.
And I do make a lot of angry tweets.
Yeah, to be fair, it's quite nice actually, because if ever I'm annoyed about something that's happened, I'm like, do you know what? Let's see what Shane's ranting about today. What's going on? And there's normally some like good nuggets on there. So yeah, honestly, follow us. It'll be hopefully worth it. It's sometimes funny. So yeah, get at the socials. I'll put all of our personal stuff as well. Obviously, I need to stop saying that. But Shane streams on Twitch like a massive variety of games, which is really cool.
Bit too much of variety, but
I don't know. I kind of live for it, mate. We just pop on your channel. What's it? A Toy Story 2? Yeah, love that. So yeah, get over it, Shane. I'm slowly getting back into the grind of doing stuff, but who knows? I'm the most inconsistent person that's potentially ever lived. So you're probably better off checking out that direction. But all of that stuff, I'll put it down below, just in case you want to check any of it out. But thank you guys very much for watching. If you have made it to the end, thank you very much for bearing with us. I know it's been a hell of a lot to get through. And we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.